Hare Krishna devotees. Hare Krishna everybody.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. So,
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Today's chapter, are you aware what chapter this is? Do you know what chapter this is? Chapter number 7. So first 6 chapters talk about bhakti. From 7th chapter onwards, we'll talk about bhakti. The first 6 chapter is the first module. And what happens in the first module is we'll be talking about how do we achieve Krishna through karma yoga, right? And the last 6 will be jnana yoga. So the most important chapter is this 6 chapters, because today we are going to talk about how can we achieve bhakti, right? Today onwards we will talk about, not just today. So through Krishna through bhakti. So this is the easiest process, and so pay attention to this. And before we start, let's start off with Mangalacharan. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjalachalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaya Dadati Swapadatikam. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Rupesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamani Haripriye Vancha Kalpadarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patidanan Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vatsadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna. So who's going to read today? Hare Krishna. Yes, you both can take turns and you all can read. So let's start off the chapter. So before we take on the chapter, let's have a quick recap on chapter number 6. Can you see the screen? You can't see the screen? Okay. So what does it talk about? It talks about the 6th chapter, a quick revision of 6th chapter. So the first 6 chapters I told is talking about karma, and in the 5th chapter, Krishna is, there's a total confusion for Arjuna. Arjuna is asking, in the 3rd chapter, before we go, he's asking Ekam Vada, tell me one thing, what should I do? Should I fight or renounce? And 4th chapter, Krishna gave transcendental knowledge, right, about himself. And in the 5th chapter, again, he is talking about karma yoga in Krishna conscious. How do we work, having Krishna as a priority? So here Arjuna asks, renunciation is better, or this, karma yoga is better. He says, yes, working in devotion is better than renunciation, right? Which means giving up the work. Why? Because it's easier. Both are same. Both are good because both will help one reach the supreme abode. But working in Krishna conscious help one, when he is working, it becomes easier. Whereas Ashtanga Yoga is a tougher task. How? He is explaining this so clearly in this particular chapter. And let's see this, right? So what is advancing in Ashtanga Yoga? So typically it's called Samabuddhir Vishishyate, which means that the process is so difficult that one has to go to an exclusive mountain area or a place where entire process becomes so difficult. Right, he is not. He has to restrict. There is a lot of conditions. He cannot be doing anything at free will, and there is so much of control which is required. And what are the stages of Ashtanga Yoga practices? We saw various stages which are involved, right? The early stages and the advanced stages, right? And the early stages you cannot give up work. Even in Ashtanga Yoga, the early stages you have to continue to work. Only at a later stage you can think of giving up the work. So why why control mind? So Krishna clearly says, yes, you need to control mind because mind is not a friend, it's a constant enemy, and therefore it is very important to control the mind. And we also saw whether the mind is a friend or an enemy. Currently, mind is our enemy because if mind is our friend, it should listen to us, but it's not listening to us, right? So it is currently our enemy. And sooner or later, we should work towards making it a friend. And we also saw the situation of an unsuccessful yogi, which is Suchiman Srimatam. That means he will again be reborn in a transcendental plane, or what will happen is he will completely be born in a Suchi. Sriman means, Srimata means in a wealthy family, just like all of us, right? We are all comfortable. We are not looking for our daily bread, right? That's why we are able to listen to the class, go to college, come back and chat and chant. Otherwise, we will not have time. If we have to keep managing our basic food, which shows very clearly that we were all a part of unsuccessful yogis sometime, in our previous birth. That's why we are not starting from zero and we are picking from midway. And what is Bhakti Yoga? It's a topmost yoga. Yukta Tamo Mataha, right? Bhakti Yoga is the topmost yoga, and that very clearly says. So, seventh chapter, it's called Jnana Vijnana Yoga, which is knowledge of the absolute. So, what do you mean by Jnana Vijnana Yoga? Jnana means knowledge, and Vijnana means application of knowledge. So, basically, this is like your practical session, right? Seventh chapter onwards, you'll have practicals. So, what happens in practicals? Practical is something where whatever you are doing, theory is taught, right? Vijnana is you apply that, like chemistry, this plus that becomes this, right? So, they work on that. Example, H2O. So it means two molecules of hydrogen mixed with one molecule of oxygen becomes water. So you go to a lab and you practice it, right? You take that and you dilute it and then it becomes water. So here it's the same thing. So you are, whatever you've learned, you're going to start implementing. So that is what Krishna says. So get ready to read. One of you can start, and after I finish chanting Hare Krishna, Shri Bhagavanu Vacha Maya Satta Mana Pata Yogam Yujnam Madhashrayah Asamshayan Samakrama Yatana Shyatsi Chakshurunu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Now here, O son, Vritha, in brackets Arjuna, how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, with mind attached to me, you can know me in full, free from doubt.
Hare Krishna. So very beautifully he says, now here, O Partha, by practicing yoga, right, complete consciousness of me with mind attached to me, right, you can get free. So he's very clearly saying, right, by practicing yoga, as long as the mind is attached to me, you will get to know me in full and you'll be free from doubt. So he's just giving an introduction, right? Shrunu. Shrunu means here. So he is constantly telling Shrunu. And in the seventh chapter, what is going to happen? He's going to talk about the very, very important, we saw, right, Jnana and Vijnana, which means the para and apara, which means what we will see is material energy, mainly spiritual energy and material energy. He's going to talk about all of this. Go ahead, Hare Krishna.
I shall now declare unto you in full in knowledge, both phononomial and nominal, by knowing which there shall remaining nothing further to be known.
So he's very clear. We've all been to many classes, maths, physics, chemistry. Is there any teacher or is there any book which says, hey, just read this book or this session I'm going to give? If you know this, there is nothing in the world which you need to know. Or even just that subject. Okay, I'm going to teach you physics. And if you just learn this part of physics, which I'm teaching you, nothing else you need to know. Is there any time in your life, any teacher or any book says that? Have you ever experienced this? Yes or no? Hare Krishna. Has anyone experienced that kind of a feeling? Yes or
no? No, Mataji.
Yeah. So thank you so much. So it never happens, right? Because it is just not possible. But whereas look at this, look at Krishna. Krishna has spoken this 5,000 years ago. And 5,000 years ago, very beautifully, he has spoken this, right? And he says his knowledge is both phenomenal and nominal. So very clearly, what does he say? He says that phenomenal means the jnana, right? Which means the material energy, and nominal means actually the spiritual energy, which we call vijnana, right? So that is what he is going to talk about. And he's going to start this from 7.4. Meanwhile, what does he say in 7.3? Let's see. Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschit yatati siddhaye yatatamapi siddhanam kaschin mameti tatpata. Hare Krishna.
Out of many thousands among men, one may endeavor for perfection, and of those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth.
He's saying that out of many, many thousands of men, only one can achieve perfection. not everybody can go for perfection. So only one will be able to go for perfection, right? And of those who have achieved perfection, only one knows me in truth. So he very clearly says, right? So it's like a sports, right? Everybody try and compete, but you see only one getting a state level championship, and he contests or she contests for the country. And of the many, only one becomes a Ravana. This rule applies largely to Krishna also. So if you see, there are so many of them who apply for the course. So there are so many of them who don't apply. So if you take, that's a larger number. There's so many who apply. That's a smaller percentage of the larger. Of that, how many of you have joined the first class? And look at the strength from the first class to today's class, right? It's fallen by what? 1/4, 1/5. So this is what it shows. So somebody who achieves, so he very clearly says, out of the thousands of men, one may deliver, one may endeavor perfection. And of that, also only one really knows the truth. So from here on, he is going to talk about this internal energy, which we just spoke. This it's also called inferior energy of Krishna. It's also called the external energy and up. So all these names are interchangeably used. And sometime back we saw this, right? It is also called the phenomenal energy, right? So let's see that. Bhumir apo nalo vayu kam buddhir mano kam mano buddhireva cha ahankaram iti yamme vinna prakritir ashtada. Hare Krishna.
Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. Altogether, these 8 comprise my separated material energies. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So very clearly saying earth, water, fire, ether, air. So 5, right? These are the material body, right? The material body, when we die, we leave this material body because it's matter, right? And matter is made up of this 5. Then where is this intelligence, false ego, and mind talking about? The mind, intelligence, false ego is talking about subtle body. So what is happening is we have the soul, and next to the soul is a super soul, right? So on death, this gross body anyway will go, right? So we tell that it's going to Bhumi or you burn, whatever you do. So it goes off. So between the gross body and the soul, there is this covering, right? That's called the subtle body. And that subtle body, as long as the subtle body is holding the soul cannot go to Goloka Vrindavan or Vaikuntha, because it is what is the subtle body is a mind, intelligent, and false ego, which means that is the one which desires, I want to come back here. I want to go to the same family. And many cases you have incidences, right? You'll ask, right? Am I going to be born in the same family? Maybe true, because the soul craves. Now, whether you're going to be born as a son of the person, grandfather of the person, or whether you'll be born as a lizard or a cat or a dog is determined by your karma. But your hankering gets fulfilled, right? In a way. So, Hare Krishna, 7.5. Please go ahead, ma.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Besides this inferior nature, O mighty armed Arjuna, there is a superior energy of mind, which are all living entities who are struggling with material nature and are sustaining the universe. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So he's saying, okay, first he spoke about inferior energy in 7.4, and 7.5 he's talking about superior energy. He says, besides this, there is something superior energy of mind, which are all living entities. So he's talking about us and all living entities. What are they doing? Right? They are struggling with the material nature. Okay, and he's going to tell that they are all exploiting. It will come. So what are we? We belong to his superior energy of Krishna, and they are actually here. So this is what it says. And what are they going to do? It's going to come up shortly. 7 point. Yeah. Hare Krishna. 7.6 you can read down first. Hare Krishna.
Mataji, your voice is breaking. Can you
My voice is
repeat?
breaking. Oh, I'm so sorry. Please read 7.4 first. Please read 7.6.
7.6. Okay. Of all that is material and all that is spiritual in this world, know for certain that I am both its origin and dissolution.
Very clearly he says, right? Whichever is material as well as spiritual. Who is spiritual, right? Living entities are spiritual. He is both the origin and dissolution. Whether it is the material energy or spiritual, he says he is the origin of both the worlds, right? So the material world and the spiritual world is manifested by Krishna. 7.7. Hare Krishna.
O conqueror of wealth, Arjuna, there is no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on a thread.
Sutre Manigaya. So what is money? Money means pearls, right? And Krishna is so sweet, right? He's telling that there's nothing superior than me and everything, right? All the universes are like pearls, which are resting. And he's talking about us. So look at him. He's so sweet. He calls himself thread and he calls us as the pearls, right? That's a position he's given. So he's just not just as a charioteer. He comes down in his position to Arjuna, even to us, right? So he is so focused and so much interested in us that he is telling that we are nothing but the pearls, whereas he's just the thread, but just that the link to the pearls are because of the thread. So he is applying, when he is telling about living entities, he's including the Brahma as well as Shiva, because all of them are within the Loka. Hare Krishna. Rasoham apsu kaunteya prabhasmi shashi suryayu pranabha sarva vedeshu saptaha ke paurusham nrishu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. O son of Kunti, I am the taste of water, the light of the sun and the moon. The syllable Om in the Vedic mantras, I am the sound in either and ability in
Ether.
man. I'm sorry.
No problem.
In ether and ability in man.
So Krishna is now going to tell what and all is he, where and all he is present. So this you're going to see, or rather hear in length in the 10th chapter, which is the opulence, which is going to come in 3 days. But what is also going to happen is he's quickly giving a short summary of where and all he is present. So he says, when you taste water, I'm the taste in the water. And Shashi means moon, Suryo means sun. So I am the light of both sun and the moon. And Pranava means the beginning, right? Omkara. So you will see a lot of things starting with Om. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Sukla Bharadam Sashi Bharadam Chatur Pujam Prasanna Vardam, right? Om. So everything starts with Om. So he says that everything which starts. Now you may tell, okay, Mataji, then why is Hare Krishna Mamantra not starting with Om? The reason Hare Krishna Mamantra is not starting with Om is because Hare Krishna itself, we are talking about energy of Krishna, right? So it Paranama mantra is built into it. And he says, I am the sound in ether and the ability in man. So whatever sound is present, that's also Krishna. And he is also the ability in man. So he clearly is saying that. Hare Krishna, Simran, no problem, Simran. Kushi, please continue reading. Hare Krishna. So 7.8 to 11 is giving a complete list of items. So basically, I'm the taste in water, I'm the light in moon and sun, whatever we saw. Om, the Vedic mantras and the sound in ether. I'm the ability in man. We saw till here. Now he's extending the list by saying that I'm the fragrance in earth. I'm the heat in the fire. I'm the life in all living. Classic example, right? So if the person is dead, you immediately, what do you say? He's gone. Where is he gone? He's here. He's passed away. Where is he passed away? He's right here. So what are they talking about passing? Knowingly or unknowingly, Shastras do have an impact on us. We have been doing that, right? We will be able to do that, right? So that's perfect. Simran, that's perfectly fine. Hare Krishna. So what is happening is, so he's like knowingly or unknowingly, we are captured. That's why we say he passed away. So that means we are referring to the conscious there. Right? And why do we burn the body or bury the body? So we are saying that these are the 5 pancha bhutas our body is made of, and it will go back to that, right? Heat is fire, life is, so that is the one. So he is the life. So he's a presence of conscious, right? So what is the symptom of the soul? The presence of conscience is a symptom of the soul, right? And what all the aesthetics, right, is a penance. So in all the, so whatever we say, for example, when you say japa, right, he is there. That's why japa is not just an ordinary sound vibration. Yes, it is also a sound vibration which gives us peace of mind, but it is not only sound vibration, right? And of all existence, he is the original seed, bija. So he is the original seed in that. He is the intelligent in the intelligence, right? So he is the most intelligent person that he says, and all powerful men, he is the prowess, right? Of the powerful man, he is the prowess, and of the strong, devoid of passion and desire, right? He's the strength that, and not contrary to religious principles, he's a sex life. So what they say is, even in a regulated sex, which is marriage sex, all these legal thing, Krishna is present there as well. So basically, he's there everywhere. Not one thing can pass without him. 7.12, Kushi, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. All states of being be they of goodness, passion, of ignorance, are manifested by my energy. I am, in one sense, everything, but I am independent. I am not under the modes of any material nature. Hare Krishna.
What is saying is all states of being, right, whether it's goodness, passion, or ignorance, are manifested, right? So we saw that there are three gunas, right? And Krishna is Nirguna, which means he's above the three gunas. He's also called Sadguna, which means he has form, he has rupa, he has everything. They are manifested by his own energy, right? But he's independent because he's above the modes, right? So the modes report to him, but he doesn't report the modes. So he's not influenced. So this is a picture. So we are all like the puppet show, being danced by the three modes. But Krishna is above that, and Maya Devi is below Krishna. 7.13.
Hare Krishna. Deluded by the three modes, goodness, passion, and ignorance, the whole world does not know me, who am above the modes and inexhaustible.
He's very clearly saying, deluded by the three modes, which is goodness, passion, and ignorance, the whole world. Right? One second. Hare Krishna. He's saying, deluded by the three modes, goodness, passion, and ignorance, the whole world does not know me. Because he says very clearly he's above the modes, which is we spoke. So that's a speciality. You see, this is what Krishna is saying, and that is his Goloka Vrindavan. And he's stretching his hand. And why is this coming up? Because this is a very important shloka, 7.14. Hare Krishna. Devi Esha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratyate Mame Vaye Prapatyante Mayam Etam Tarantite. Hare Krishna. You can read.
The divine energy of mind, consisting of the three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome. But those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. Hare Krishna.
So very clearly, Devi Yeshi Gunamaya. So whatever the all three gunas which are there, it's very difficult to overcome. Why? Because it is subordinate to Krishna, which means they are reporting. So tell me one thing, if I may ask, do you think the secretary of the prime minister is powerful or he is not? Is the secretary of the prime minister more powerful than you or not?
More powerful than us.
Correct. So if he is causing trouble, we will not be able to manage it, right? We may think, okay, I'll tell mama, daddy, but then fact is he's got a lot of influence, a lot of pull is under his hand, right? So if he's constantly troubling, right? Let's take a very hypothetical situation, right? Let's assume that, this president or prime minister secretary is calling Archana every day and he is constantly troubling her. She won't be able to handle it. She may go and escalate it to her parents and all, but still it's going to be very stressful. But what if, Archana meets the prime minister in her school or college and the prime minister says, this is my direct line. Okay, Archana, you can call me anytime. Okay, and you need anything, just feel free, don't hesitate. So what will be her situation? And now forget about she trying to threaten. Now the very fact that she's got the direct hotline of the prime minister itself is going to put the secretary of the prime minister in state. Yes or no?
Yes, Mataji.
Right, so you see the difference now. So now this is what it is. So the moment you are a devotee of Krishna, it's going to put Maya Devi in state. So even in a material world, if this is happening, it's so true in spiritual world. So which is a hotline for Krishna? So I told you the moment, the president or the prime minister, you have a hotline, you have a number which you can call him personally. So for Krishna, where is the hotline? What is the hotline? Let me get it for you. So which is the hotline? Can anyone guess? You have the number. So this is the hotline. So I just thought I'll bring. So this japa, right? The japa is the hotline. So when you call, Krishna is there. So Maya Devi will tell, oh my God, this person talks to Krishna because the japa is so true, so real. It is not a beat. It is just not sound vibration. Krishna is present in the japa, in the sound. Omkara, he's telling, I am the Om. Right? So he is present. And imagine if you're going to chant, You think Maya Devi will even have she will try to drag you. So for all those who have a challenge in chanting, which I had initially, I never used to chant for the first 18 days during my 18th session. I started late, but I understand how much Maya Devi has been fighting against, right? She has been ruling. So I've never had a control of my mind. That's when I understood, because if I could have, I would be able to chant at least one round a day, right? So my only request to each one of you all is chant, because for even for constant, a lot of them come back and tell Mataji, my intelligence is improved, our peace of mind is increased. We have various things. That is not the purpose, but they are byproducts. Example, if I'm very thirsty, right, and I go to Kushi's house and I tell, can you give me a glass of milk? I'm very thirsty. She gives me a glass of milk. And I noticed suddenly that, after drinking milk, I feel fresh. And I also feel that my hunger is also gone. Then after one day, I feel my skin is glowing. All this was not the purpose for which I had milk. I was thirsty, so I thought milk will quench my thirst. But the side effects, which are the byproducts, are also there. Likewise, is this, yes, obviously you're chanting for a different purpose. However, the byproducts, of being peaceful, of intelligence being there, you're becoming calmer, all this will happen. But one thing is, there are also devotees who come and tell, Mataji, I've been doing it for 10 days. I don't see any reaction. Yes, because there is so much of dirt in the heart. You have to give time to Krishna, right? There is a very beautiful shloka by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It says, Cheto Darpana Marjanam. Cheto Darpana Marjanam. Baba Maha. So what does it mean? Cheto, I'm cleaning, I'm cleansing the heart of the devotee. So beautifully, Cheto Darpana means I'm cleaning. So he's doing that. And for that, he will need time, depending on how much of dirt is there. Hare Krishna. Simran, chanting is different from praying, because chanting is also praying, but then praying, normally we use the word for deity worship. When you get up in the morning, you pray God, you light candle, right? The Pancha Artika Vidhi, which means the 5 things which we do, offering boha, which we have to do, but that is praying. But both cases are fine. But chanting, we cannot leave. Praying, we've always been doing from childhood, but chanting connects you to God. Hare Krishna. 7.15, Hare Krishna. Namam dushkruti no muda prapatyante naradamaha maya ya prahriti no jnana ashurim bhava ashritaha. They are talking about 4 types of atheists, 4 types of impious people. Please go ahead, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, those miscreants who are grossly foolish, lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and who partake of the atheistic nature of demons, do not surrender unto me. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So very clearly, Namam Dushkritino Muda. So he's telling, Dushkritino. Dushkritino means there are 2 types of people who are dumb, who are Muda. Dumb is Muda only. Foolish, grossly foolish, and another one is Naradama. Naradama means somebody who's lowest among the mankind. Right? Example, we will see somebody who's drunk. All the hippies, many of them, they have got all the bad habits on the earth. So they are them. And Mayaya Prarina Jnana, somebody who is illusioned by Maya. Example, philosophers, you have all of them in that category, right? Their Maya influences them. They think they are intelligent, but it's so-called intelligence. Asuram Bhavam Ashritaha. Ashram Bhavam Ashritaha means somebody who takes shelter of the bad people. Like some of them do have connections with politicians. Some of them, like in olden days, it was Hiranyakashipu, Ravana. People were doing jinkai. Today, you don't need to go to some forest. We have devil right here next to us, right? So surrendering. So these are the category. Now we are going to see. This is what we saw as Muda, right? Because a donkey needs only probably a bowl of grass, but then it does so much because it thinks that only if we carry so much, it will get that grass. And we saw this category, like kind of people. Ravana, right? All of them did this austerities by hurting themselves, but they also torture, and many people feel he's great and they follow him. Even today, I know a lot of people who tell that Ravana, oh my God, he's a very big devotee. Of what? Do you consider a man who tries and pulls his wife of a god a devotee? What kind of a devotee, for that matter, you can think of him to be, right? And now these are Jagai Magai. So this is one of the pastimes in Chaitanya Charitamrita. So Jagai Magai are extraordinarily bad, and today is Nityananda's day, right? So special day of Nityananda. Nityananda is none but Balram. So what is special today is that let me highlight the story, and let me just spend a few minutes on this story. The devotees of the God are so passionate. So Nityananda actually is one of Sishas or teammate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he in West Bengal was going and preaching with Sankirtan, which is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. He was preaching to all, and he came across people like Vijaya, who are grossly foolish, so bad, and that's what we saw, right? Narada Mas, right? So they are grossly foolish, drinking, every bad habit they had. However, what happened is he never at any point in time gave up on them. He was preaching, and one day he got so angry. One of the brothers went and broke the head of Nityananda Acharya, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is very soft, very calm, could not tolerate, which is applicable even now. Krishna can tolerate anything, but what he can't tolerate is anything done, any evil done to his sishyas, his devotees. He just can't tolerate. He will come right there. One more example of Muda is the camel, right? So camel actually chews this thorn, and blood comes out of the cactus of its tongue, and feels, oh my God, it's so tasty, right? He feels like that, wow, it's so tasty. So that's the kind of feeling he has, right? So that's a weird story. So that's what it is. 7.16, Hare Krishna. So let's move on. So we saw 4 kinds of bad people. Now we're going to see 4 kinds of good people. Hare Krishna. Chatur Vida Bhajanti Ma Jana Sukriti Nojuna Arto Jignashu Artha Nicha Bharat Rishabha. Hare Krishna. Please read, ma. Hare Krishna.
Oh, Hare Krishna. O best among the Bharatas, Arjuna, 4 kinds of pious men render devotional service unto me: the distressed, the desirer of wealth, the inquisitive, and he who is searching for knowledge of the Absolute. Hare Krishna.
These are the 4 categories called the neophytes beginners. We will fit in one of the category. All of us in this room will either be distressed, which is called the Artha, Jignashu, who is the inquisitive, Arthati, who is a desirer of wealth, he's searching that, or one who is wanting knowledge, right? He's searching for knowledge, who is Jnani. Of them, Krishna will tell who he is very dear to. Please make a note, we'll be one of that. So can someone tell the first picture who it is? It's an elephant, but I just wanted to know if anybody know the story. It's called Gajendra Moksha, and it's a very elevated elephant who's gone to pick up flower, and at that time his leg gets caught by the crocodile. And Moksha, right? Why is it called Moksha? Moksha means liberation. And Gajendra immediately prays for Vishnu. Vishnu personally comes in his motorbike, and his motorbike name is called Garuda, right? So he comes to Garuda and liberates him. This is one. And second one, can anyone tell me the picture where a girl is stripped and Krishna is supplying sari?
Draupadi.
Draupadi.
Thank you so much. Yes, bang on. So this is distressed. These 2 are examples of distress, right? Where they are in a very distressed position and they don't have a choice and they are looking for it. And the third one is Sukadev in the womb of his mother. He is in the stomach for 16 years and he does not come out. His father is Vyasadeva, who is also incarnation of Krishna. So Vyasa goes immediately to Dwaraka and says, Krishna, you come, because I am telling him, even if he's born, he will be liberated. This story is in Srimad Bhagavatam. And Krishna personally comes to talk to Sukadeva and he says, hey, Sukha, come out. No problem. Your mom will die if you continue to stay here. And then you are always liberated. You will never be bound. And an extension of the story is only this, which means the same Sukadeva who is looking very handsome, extremely cute. Many people get confused for Sukha to be Krishna. And I used to be wondering, why is Sukadev's picture very close to Krishna? Because many get confused. And when I read Srimad Bhagavatam, I understood. He had such beautiful bodily features. And he met Parikshit. Anyone knows who's Parikshit? Does anyone know who's Parikshit?
Grandson of Arjuna.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Hari Bol. Not bad. So he's the grandson of Arjuna, son of?
I guess Abhimanyu and
Yes. Uttara. Son of
Uttara, yeah.
Right. So he was the one whom Krishna saved in the womb. And after many years, when he became the king and when he had children, and there was a particular curse where he came to know that he's going to die in 7 days. So 7/24, he is listening to Krishna Katha without drinking because it's so nectarian. And Sukadev Muni, the small little boy, is the one who's preaching. And these are again in the concept, right? Inquisitive. He wants to know more about Krishna. So that is there. And who's Jnani here? Sukadev is the Jnani. And we are extending the story out here below, wherein here Sukadev's story was heard by Sutta Goswami, and a lot of people here. There was Vyasa, Narada, everybody are there. You can see, and these are Saunika rishis, right? These are one set of rishis who assembled in to hear about the past times or the glories of Krishna under the leadership of Sutta. And who's Sutta? Sutta is a student of Sutta, right? He was here and he heard, so he is going to give the same version. So they are inquisitive. They want to know about Krishna. Now we will see wealth seekers, right? So we see first and second example. First one, can anyone guess who is this wealth seeker? The first one, Dhruva, right? Dhruva was insulted by his stepmom, and therefore he goes to the forest into jungle to pray Vishnu, because he wants to come back and he wants to have a kingdom bigger than Brahmaloka. But he is distressed and he approaches Krishna. But let's hear extension of Dhruva's story sometime during today or tomorrow's session. And this is again Ram, right? So these Manavas are coming to meet Ram for money. So these are all the case. So all of us will fall in one of the categories at the initial stage. Later we may all become great, but then currently we are wanderers. You don't have to tell me, but make a note what category you are in. Hare Krishna. 7.17 you can read.
Of this, the wish one who is the full knowledge in the union with me through pure devotion service is the best, for I am very dear to him and he is the dear to me.
So he very clearly says of the 4 categories, I am very, very dear to Jnanis, right? Because they do not have a purpose. They're not curious. They just want to seek knowledge of Krishna, right? So that's the speciality of Jnani. So what is he going to say in the next thing, Hare Krishna, in 7.19? Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavan mam prapadyate vasudevah sarvamiti samahatma sudurlabha. Hare Krishna.
After many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrender unto me, known me to be the cause of all causes and all that is such a great soul is very rare.
So he's very clearly saying that such a great soul is extremely rare, because after so many births, birth after birth, right? He's having actual knowledge of Krishna and he's the cause of all causes. He surrenders to him. Such a soul is very rare, right? So jnanis are very rare. Example, Prahlad. How many Prahlads have you ever heard? Give me an example of someone equal to Prahlad, not even Dhruva. Have you ever come across a 5-year boy being tormented by father, and yet he talks about Vishnu and Krishna? Do you have any situation or an experience of such a thing?
No, Mataji.
So we have always an exception, right? So that is what is the one. And so that's what he says. So that Durlabha, Sudurlabha means very, very rare, right? 7.20, Hare Krishna. Please go ahead. You can read.
Hare Krishna. Those whose minds are distorted by material desires surrender unto demigods and follow the particular rules and regulations of worship according to their own natures.
Krishna. So he's very clearly telling those whose minds are distorted with material desire. For anyone whose minds are totally contaminated with material desire, surrender to the demigods, devatas, and all the rules of the devatas worship. Why? Because in the 4th chapter, Krishna asks, right? I reward them according to the level of surrender. So immediately Arjuna says, okay, Krishna, what about those who pray with demigod? Why? Because for quick result. So that is what he says. So typically people are those who surrender for quick results. They worship demigods, right? But such people, what happens? Krishna is going to tell why do they surrender? Because Krishna is going to make their faith strong. Because you want demigod, I will give you. You want Shiva? Okay, agreed. You can pray Shiva. But all of them who are worshippers of demigods are also in mood of goodness. 7.21. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I am in everyone's heart as the super soul. As soon as one desires to worship the demigods, I make his faith steady so that he can devote himself to some particular deity. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. He says, I'm in everybody's heart as super soul. And as soon as one desires to worship the demigod, right, that faith also Krishna is making it very strong. Why? So that, that's what you want. So he's making that faith also very strong. And he's saying that. And let's hear what he says more about it. 7.2. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Endowed with such a faith, he seeks favors of a particular demigod and obtain his desires. But in actuality, these benefits are bestowed by me alone. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So he's very clear. He says that all these benefits are bestowed by me alone. Okay, because these are people, they are order suppliers, order carriers. We just spoke about the prime minister, right? Secretary and all his cabinet ministers are all reporting to him, right? And they are acting based on the powers or whatever criteria they've been given. So is Krishna. Krishna is the original and supreme, and he gives them powers to see and seek all of that. So that is what he says. So that is what. So these are the prayers which are also offered in Brahma Samhita, where Krishna, what is it? Ganesha offers prayers to Krishna in the form of Narsimha Dev, saying that please give me power because I want to remove all the obstacles of the devotees. Please give me power. So basically, he takes power from Krishna again. So that's the thing. So it's like this. Yadpada-pallavi-yugama-vinidaya kumba Vande pranama samaye sa ganadiraja Vignam vigattumalamasya jagatrayasya Govindamadi purusham tama bhajami. Hare Krishna. So he's seeking for powers. 7.23. Hare Krishna.
Men of small intelligence worship the demigods, and their fruits are limited and temporary. Those who worship the demigods go to the planets of the demigods, but my divorce is ultimately reach my supreme planet.
Hare Krishna. He says that men of small intelligence, right? Somebody who is having extremely small thinking, they are the ones who think about demigods because they need foods, right? See, now if there is a complete 5-star hotel, would you go and when you know that you're going to have access to the 5-star hotel, would you go and to a local tea shop and have tea? Right? Unlikely. Sometimes we do for fun of it, but then unlikely, right? Because he knows that this whole loka is whatever demigods give is temporary, and the powers are from them. But still, Krishna, these kind of people do go because the results come fast quickly. 7.24. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Unintelligent men who know me not think that I have assumed this form and personality. Due to their small knowledge, they do not know my higher nature, which is changeless and supreme.
Hare Krishna. So he's very clearly saying people with very little intelligence, in fact, unintelligent people, mudas, right? They think that I have assumed this form. You should always remember, like I always ask this question: you look like your mother, or your mother looks like you? Which of that is true? The child looks like the mother, or the mother looks like the child?
Child looks like mother.
Child looks like a mother.
Yes, the child looks like the mother. So therefore, we are looking like Krishna. The two-handed form of Krishna is his original form, and it is not a fake form. Just because he has a two-handed form, it doesn't mean he's a normal human being. He is having a human form, but he's got a spiritual body, right? They don't know, and for them, they always think, okay, he has two forms. Okay, he'll also forget. Okay, he will. I die. Krishna also may die. I have limited power. He also will have, because we relate, because we feel we can't even understand someone who's very smart in our level. If I ask you a question, if someone at the age of 60 jumps from a tree top or from a first floor, will he break his leg? Yes, no.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, but we all know Jackie.
True.
He jumps from much higher. Nothing has happened to him. Maybe he contracted injuries, but age is not the reason, right? So how did that happen? Because we don't even understand somebody exactly born with us who have a higher caliber or higher talent, right? That happens in class. If there is a girl who's taking first class, we tell, no, I have no idea how she gets first rank all the time, right? All the time. Not once does she leave. Why? Because it's beyond our scope of imagination. Even though we may be in second rank, we feel we missed that first rank, right? So this is what happens. So these people always don't believe in the personality of Godhead in the human form, which is a very beautiful Shama Sundara Rupa. Cute, right? Sorry. This, yeah, 7.25 you can read. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I am never manifest to the foolish and unintelligent. For them, I am covered by my eternal creative potency, Yog Maya. And so the deluded world knows me not, who am born and infallible.
Hare Krishna. So very clearly he says, for this foolish people, I'm covered by the creative potency called the Yoga Maya. Right? And I'm unborn and infallible. So it's not possible for them to know. And he says, what is Yoga Maya? Yoga Maya is the line which covers so that people won't get to know Krishna. And that's his own effulgence, right? So this is called Maya. And what are we covered? We are covered in this world by Mahamaya, right? The energy which covers us is Maya Devi, which I showed is a Mahamaya. Because here we want to forget Krishna. Hare Krishna. And 7.26 now.
Hare Krishna. Arjuna, O Arjuna, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, I know everything that has happened in the past, all that is happening in the present, and all things that are yet to come. I also know all living entities, but me, no one knows. Hare Krishna.
He very clearly says that everything that has happened in the past, present, and future, I know everything. But who knows? Only I know. Even Devatas do not know. Right? I know about them, but nobody knows about me. And that is why Krishna has to speak about himself. Because he is the only one who knows about himself. Right? Krishna. Esham tvantagatam papam jnanam punya karmana tvandva moha nirmukta vajate mam dhrudakrata. Hare Krishna. Read now.
Persons who have acted piously in previous lives and in this life, whose sinful actions are completely eradicated and who are freed from the duality of delusion, engage themselves in my service with determination.
Very clearly says persons who have acted piously in the previous life, right? So somebody who has acted very piously in the previous life, whose sinful actions are completely eradicated, completely gone, who are freed from duality, right, of delusion, engage themselves in my service with determination, right? So he's telling that he's talking about gatam. Gatam means destination, right? A final destination. So he says where they will come to me. That's what Krishna is going to do. 7.30.
Hare Krishna. Those who know me as the Supreme Lord, as the governing principle of the material manifestation, who know me as the one underlying all the demigods and as the one sustaining all sacrifices, can, with steadfast mind, understand and know me even at the time of death. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So he's telling that for those who know me and who understands, right, that I am the power of all the devatas at the time of death will remember me. He's clearly saying, right, even at the time of death, they will remember me because normally at the time of death, your entire life, your sins, everything flashes. Krishna is telling, but someone who has understood me completely will automatically remember me. Now, why should I remember Krishna? How does it matter? What way it is useful? All that, wait till the 8th chapter he's going to tell. So the 7th chapter talks about powers of Krishna and where he's telling both are there and he is there literally in everything in the material world. This is like a teaser of the bhakti. Just giving a very good snapshot of the chapters which are going to come. And he also says by doing that, what happens at the final stage, he'll come. So what? That question will come to us, which for that we'll wait till the 8th chapter. Please don't miss tomorrow's chapter because it's a heavy chapter. And if you don't understand, we'll get stuck there. That's why. Chapter 1 and 3, Kastin Mam Veti Tattvataha, right? So that's what he says. And knowledge of Lord Krishna's energies. We saw Prakritin Vidhi Me Param, right? We've seen the various energies of Krishna. Material and which we saw is phenomenal and noumenal, which is centering on to Krishna, Mam Eva Ye Prapadyanti, right? So he's talking about surrender and demigod worship and impersonalists. We saw Maeva Vihitan Vitan. So basically, which one is the better? We saw demigod worship, not good. Impersonalist still worse because it's Brahma Jyoti. And we have seen that Mandam Tama Pravishyanti Vidyam Upashate Tato Bhuyevate Tamu Yayu Vidyam Yamrata. Very clearly, if you're going to pray demigod, you go to demigod. Otherwise, if you're going to pray your ancestors, you go to pray ancestors. And what he's bottom line trying to explain is very clear on them. So if your eyes are blinded, you'll go to dark planets. And if you're still worse, if you're an impersonalist, you'll go to still darker planets, right? From delusion to devotion. Icha dvesha samutena, right? How do you move from illusion to devotion? And that roadmap he's going to clearly give. Right now, he's just given you a course of how to do. Chapter he's going to spot on tell what is happens when you think Krishna, how you can think of Krishna, what are the ways and means of achieving Krishna, right? So that is going to beautifully explain. Hare Krishna. With this, we'll we'll come to an end of the 7th chapter and the beginning of the Bhakti Yoga. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Hare Krishna, all of you. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare
Krishna, Hare
Rama, Hare Rama,
Hare
Rama
Krishna, Hare
Rama,
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Hare.
Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Hare
Rama
Rama,
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 Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare.
Hare Krishna. So, fine. We have 10 more.
Hare Krishna, Hare
What would you like to?
Hare Rama, Hare Rama.
Rama. Yes. What would you like to hear? Do you want to hear a story or do you want to see the bridge presentation? What would you want to do?
Bridge presentation, ma'am.
Bridge presentation? Okay, fine.
Yes, ma'am.
No problem. So let's have a quick look on the bridge presentation, which is going to talk about, science and spirituality. We won't be able to cover the full presentation, but I'm going to do a small portion of this presentation every day. And science and spirituality, a very important topic for you all. We will after this do mind control. So what is science and spirituality? Now, which is better, science correct or spirituality correct? These are conflicting. So it's a very debatable topic and we will go years and years. So what happens, the two most important days in your life, I'm not saying Mark Twain says, the days you are born and the day you find out why. Okay. So do we really need spirituality? A lot of questions, right? And you will come across many of such questions with your friends, relatives. Spirituality, I can do without it. It's unscientific. My life is too fast. I don't have time. What's the fun in that? It's a right. Typically, that's what people say. We were talking about running away, right? One of you all also told me, like, when I wanted to run, sometimes most of us wanted to run. That's not spirituality, but people feel that is spirituality because it's escapism. Now, all these questions you don't have to note down, but just have a look. Last day, not 18th day, last day of this session, we will. So externally visible differences between science and spirituality, right? So both of them, so both of them, are talking about two different scenes, but both of them need a lot of concentration, focus. We're talking about medical books. We say, oh, and then so is spiritual books. We saw Veda base, right? It's updated in your settings, and I showed you on the first day how many books you're reading, right? If you keep progressing, you keep reading. You know this very famous university, and whoever knows can type in chat. That's right. It's a US presentation. Yeah, sure. Hare Krishna. So this is the university. Also, we have our university, and can anyone tell me where is this place? Where is this? Anyone from South India will be able to guess this place. This university is called Tirupati. I'm sure you'd have heard, right? That is the specialty. Does anyone know him?
Albert Einstein.
So nice. I'm proud of you that you all are proper students. You're listening to class. Albert Einstein. And can anyone guess who this is? So we have lead professors.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
All of them look alike, right? But no, he's not Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came 500 years back, but he's not Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I can tell you one clue. He is a super guru of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which means he is Guru's guru.
Nityanand Prabhu?
No, Guru's guru. Many. He's in the same discipline succession. That's a clue I'm giving. And following the same. Nityananda is his friend.
Jagat Guru Adi Shankaracharya?
Very close resemblance, but he's Madhavacharya. We are not following Shankaracharya, we are following Madhavacharya. Right? Oh. And Madhavacharya is none but the incarnation of Krishna himself. Hare Krishna Prabhu, very nice. I haven't, you've been so silent so long. I have not heard you being active, but I'm so happy you're participating. Thank you so much. And can you tell me whose deity is having in the hand?
Radharani.
This deity is that of Krishna, right? And it's engraved by Rukmini. So he got this deity after so many years, right? You see, there is a lot of crowd, right? When there is a space launch, there is a lot of crowd. Yes or no? We'll all be curious.
Yes.
And guess what is this? Look at the crowd and tell me what.
Rath
Yatra. Wow, I'm so proud of you. It is Rath Yatra. Okay, so can you see the crowd? Right? So,
yes.
Yeah, thank you so much. The advent of science, all of us know Newton, needs no introduction. Maxwell theory of magnetism. Don't think I'm taking science class, okay? I'm not. I'm just taking a short view. Einstein, relativity, Planck's theory of all the people, the most intelligent guy, Planck. I'm not telling relatively, but I'm just saying the thing. Right? So Isaac Newton, we all know what all he did. Just a quick view of it. What has he said? Kushi, please go ahead and read this, or anyone can read. I just want you to read this.
This most beautiful system of
This
the
most beautiful
You all can take turns. I will give you a lot of time.
This most beautiful system of the sun, planets, and comets could also only proceed from the counsel and dominion of an intelligent and powerful being.
So this is what Newton says, right? He says counsel and domain of the intelligent, powerful being. He very openly says. And also you will ask, okay, powerful being, he's talking about a political head. You will say that, right? So he's also naming who that person is. Yes, the other little Mataji, you can go ahead and read this page. Hare Krishna. Come on, you can unmute and read this.
This being governance all things, not has the soul of the world, but has Lord over all, and on account of his dominion, he is to be called Lord God, universal rule.
So very clearly, he's talking about who is he? He's talking about Lord God. So it is very clear, right? And if anyone does not know Newton and say he's wrong, is there Maxwell? I'm not giving you a theory on this because you all know about him, and he is offering prayers to God, which means he believed in God. Now Einstein, right? Now he said there is a perfect brain behind all the natural physical laws, and he says science without religion is lame, and religion without science is blind. He's made such strong statements. He says, I believe in God, right? And he says these magnificent gifts of God to humanity, right? He says they are awesome. Everyone who's seriously involved in the pursuit of science becomes convinced that a spirit is manifest in the law of the universe, a spirit vastly superior to that of man. This, I'm going to play this video. It's my most favorite video. I'm going to play it for you tomorrow, and or maybe I'll play it today after the chanting because it's video recorded. So I will play it later. It's a German video, but I will want you all to see it. Advent of technology, television and entertainment, aerospace, computers, internet, cell phone. You know that you've seen technology in various things. But let's also see the dark side of science. You see a lot of destruction, bombs. There is something called sparrow, which used to be very common when we were small, right? And now we have to search. I don't think the next generation will see sparrow, at least in Chennai, because I heard that the sparrow has a particular height, and that is when the cable wires come and it's burning. As Stephen Hawking says that humanity has 100 years left. It's not 100, but what he said is not very far. We are not far from here. And now you see, because of these extinction, what is happening? This is not the mummy baby. It is some other mummy which has adopted the child, right? So beautiful, but so painful, like it's lost its mother. The ecology, environment, super disasters are no longer a doomsday prophecy. They are imminent reality, right? People living in metropolitan cities will have their lifespans cut by an average of 10 years. Very clear, World Health Organization. I'm not saying. So violence is gone 7 times higher. And death rates is 19 times more than the one. We were telling those days kings are fighting, bloodshed. The number of people who died in Mahabharata war actually was much higher than the one in COVID. So natural calamities are not alone the bothering one. Right? There are many other things which are bothering. Violence has become so high. People today suffer from stress, depression, hypertension, and addictions more than before.
Ma'am, your voice is breaking.
Oh, so sorry. Whenever I take this presentation, it becomes jinxed. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Sure. So suicide, right? Over 1 million people commit suicide. Family, many marriages end in divorce. Within 3 years, there are divorce. So what went wrong? Right? The capacity of the science to disturb the universe has far exceeded our capacity to fix it. Who Freeman Dyson has said. This is another video which I will play, everyday one. We live in the age of guided missiles and misguided men. That's a true fact, right? So what is happening today? Physically, you have more cars, but no fresh air. Psychologically, a lot of entertainment, right? You have so many TVs. We have, so many recreation places, games, indoor, everything is there, but more psychiatric treatment, right? Addiction, suicide are more. Industrialization is high, but congestion is also high. Thermal hydraulics are high. Global warming is high. Medicines have improved. Unhealthy lifestyles. What went wrong? Because Krishna provides for everybody's need, but not for our greed. Because if we focus on greed, we all bleed, right? So that's what is happening. The 100 years of quantum physics is the only one which is so clearly trying to bring metaphysics, quantum physics. But people have just started understanding, right? We've just found entry into quantum physics. This is the only thing which links man and God. And conscious studies is not spoken in many places, and the rest of this we will see in part 2 tomorrow. Is that fine? And if you have any doubts in this chapter, please go ahead and shoot, and I will definitely show you one video after we finish chanting. Yes, so one time all of you Hare Krishna, and I will stop this and then I'll show you the video. I'll stop. Hare Krishna, tell me Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.